Hey, you guys, happy Sunday. So, I want to say that this video was and is inspired by, or I was inspired to make this video by a comment left by, I want to say her name is Miranda. Um, and she was talking about a time where she was pregnant and went into heart failure because of how malnourished she was from not being able to eat. Not that she wasn't hungry. She wasn't like able to eat. Now, she was um with a narcissist or whatever, and pregnant by him, of course. And if you know, like I know, which unfortunately I know, they'll eat up all the food. Like, even like I've had it to where the baby was finally on like whole milk or something, and he would drink the last of it on purpose or eat the last of the cereal, even though there were two kids in the house. Just because he wanted it, and felt like, hey, let that bitch go out and get some more. It's me, right? And he would be like, oh, whatever, right? So, she was talking about how she actually went to heart failure while pregnant because she hadn't been able to eat. Not like, again, not that she didn't want to. Like, you can't when there's no food there, and some losers like consumed all of it. And um, it was a comment on my video about how the narc will have you arrested, and needless to say, she got arrested for stealing food while pregnant. That fucking broke the shit out of my heart because I like really, really, really understand, and it just hit home for me. So, story time, because I never honestly admitted to this, but the narcissist will force you into becoming an enabler in order to survive them. Enabling them by doing what? Committing crimes, maybe. Maybe doing drugs with them, maybe. Just all types of shit, right? And she also was such a well-rounded person that had gotten fired so many times because this loser, of course, helped out with that. Out of jealousy, of course, because there's always some loser who doesn't have shit going on for their life. So they're jealous of you, and then what do? They want you to get fired. And then eventually, you do eventually get fired, right? You get fired because, like, they either called in some bogus bullshit, or they made you tired and sleep deprived, so you got fired, or they started an argument before work, so like you went in there with a shitty attitude, and obviously, of course, you would, right? So shit like this happens, and it made me think of a time where I'm gonna get my little togetherness pillow together. Anyway, um, it made me think of a time where that like happened, like in my life or whatever. And so when I was pregnant, I got fired. Now, unfortunately, I hate saying boss, but the management over top of me, because I was a manager, this bitch was a narc, right? And she was just gross, but she would like ditch out all the time and just like leave me with her responsibilities and expect me not to say anything about it because she's like, well, I'm with the manager, so whatever. And eventually I got fired, but I was 8 months pregnant when I got fired. Okay. And my ex-narc would just sit in the house all day and play motherfucking video games, not look for a job, pretend like he was looking for a job, but he knew for a fact he never was. And when I got fired at 8 months pregnant, obviously you have month number 9 to go, right? So what happened in month number 9? Once I had the baby, what he did was purposefully never achieved a job or anything like that. He purposefully, alongside his parents, by the way, because unfortunately his parents, his shit mom and gross weird ass stepfather, were my child's grandparents alongside my mom, and he purposefully, alongside them, never helped out with the baby. Like, even when I got fired, he was like, "Oh, you lost your job? Oh God." Like, he was panicking like a housewife whose husband came home and said that they didn't have a job anymore. Right? He was panicking like a fucking bitch ass housewife that was like, What are we gonna do, babe? It's like, you're a grown ass man. I shouldn't have been doing this in the first place. But anyway, so he didn't buck up or get anything done. What he did was sit on his ass even more. So when the baby came, it was just I guess leftover money from having had a job, leftover savings, which really wasn't a lot. Like, I didn't really have a lot because I had not expected to get fired. Although my narc boss made sure that I could not get unemployment, and she made sure that I wasn't able to get maternity leave. So I was stuck with like my last paycheck, which was probably something around like $975 or something. And more than half of that went to the rent, which I was paying by myself, of course, because that fool doesn't have shit, doesn't care, doesn't try to have shit. They're just living off you, eating up all that food though, eating all the food in the house, eating all the shit. Of course, I had WIC, but that gives you like a certain amount of random things that you may or may not eat, or your baby may or may not eat, or whatever. And that shit was just wild as fuck. Okay. And then when it came down to diapers, this is what it made me think of when she said that. When it came down to diapers, in my case, her case, it was food, right? When it came down to diapers, I didn't have support. I don't have a family that's supportive. I don't have a family, really. And I believe a narcissist likes to choose people like that they find don't have like a family unit. They don't have a mother or a father that support them. They don't have aunts and uncles or cousins or all that stuff. They don't have that. I'm that person that does not have that. Okay? And he capitalized on that in a way, and he used it. He used it to his advantage. So when I needed something, he knew that I was completely alone, and it was just me and him, and the abuse and the kids, right? So when there was time to get diapers, I was like, babe, like, we are completely out of diapers. Like, I don't know how to get them. I don't have any, like, we're out of money. I'm out of money. I need you, right? He'd be like, I'm just playing video games. Like, oh man, it sucks. Right? And I'd be like, well, I have to go to, I can't name the store, but a particular store. I'm going to have to like steal diapers. And he's like, all right, be safe. Back to video games, drinking the last glass of milk, eating the last crust of bread. Be safe, babe. All right. And that is how he carried it on at least 5 occasions. You know how embarrassing, gross, degrading, and horrible you feel when you have to do something like that? Because I can tell you what, a mom is going to make sure she feeds her children, or at least she can eat while she's pregnant. Same difference, right? Just like that young lady that I just have so much love for. And was I gonna let my infant shit and piss herself with nothing, no diapers? No. And him and his mom and his stepdad, all of them collectively made it very, and my family too, let's not forget them, made it very, very difficult and apparent that there was no help, and that I was alone, and that was my life for quite a long time, for quite some time. So I'm sorry, young lady, I'm sorry, my baby Miranda, that you could not eat while pregnant. And by the way, when I was working, because I was staying on my feet for 8 hours a day and some change, let's just go ahead and make it even 9.5 hours a day, working at a at Petco Unleashed. It was Petco Unleashed here in DC, and I would often open and close the store by myself. Sometimes there'd be like a random dude in the store before, like when you open it, like somebody snuck in. Or sometimes, something would happen, like maybe they would hide in the bathroom or something, so you could have got like raped, murdered, whatever. And I was there alone, like almost all the time. 7 and 8 months pregnant, working with dogs, scrubbing out what we call the tubs, which was dog tubs that you like wash your dog in. It was like a dog pet wash. But I had to scrub those out, dig out hair and piss and shit and fleas and all that shit by myself. Just never sit down. I wasn't allowed to sit down, and I wasn't allowed to eat on the floor. So I had to wait till maybe there was like a half an hour for me to maybe eat something, and usually all the money would be spent by that narc, so I didn't even have that. So I was just hungry, me and the baby, who was not yet born. I understand where you're coming from. And if anybody's, I always say this, but I don't care, I'll say it 1,000 times. If anybody's going through this right now, you are not alone. You can contact me. I'm not the richest person on the planet, I can tell you that. I am, in a sense, that what richness means to me, but in reality, as far as like, if you need some resources, I am well connected and I will help you find them. Okay? Never feel like you have to steal food, or like my friend Miranda, or diapers like myself, because unfortunately it took me like a long time to find a diaper program and things like that. But it's sad to need those things when you have another parent out there that's a narc, fucking and sucking and doing what they want and doing drugs and harassing you, thinking that the shit is funny. And they're not getting reprimanded somehow. So I know how that feels. Anyway, that's what I meant by the narcissist will force you into being an enabler, because in a sense, by you resorting to doing those things, it's enabling them to keep being a piece of shit. Right? Where if you're going to do those things, at least get rid of that motherfucker and do that shit alone. Because if you got to do that shit and you got this nigga just sitting on your couch, that's not good. You know what I mean? Either way, it's not good, but I bet it bad feels bad. I'm gonna make this shit up right now. This is my quote. Write this shit down. Bad feels better, right? Bad feels better when you're not with worse. You know what I'm saying? You feel a lot better doing bad when you doing that shit solo dolo, baby. Not with a nigga sitting on your couch. Anyway, I love you guys. This might have sounded sporadic, but that shit touched my heart, man. When I heard that, I was just devastated. Like, it was devastatingly sad, because I, unfortunately, could very much relate to how it feels to have to do some shit like that when you're not even a thief, but you have like babies or some shit to like take care of, and this thing is consuming all of you at home. Anyway, love you. Bye.